Is everybody there? Should I start?
I'll just introduce you, sir, and then we can start.
Okay.
A very good afternoon to all the participants in this session on how medium-sized IT firms remain insulated in COVID-19. On behalf of University School of Management Studies, Guru Gobind Singh University, welcome all the participants to the session. Rest of the day, Mr. Raj Hajela, who is the founder of Estel Technologies, where he is currently holding a position of Managing Director and is also responsible for the roles of business and product strategies and strategic alliances. In addition to his role at Estel, he is also a co-founder and director of Online Recharge, which is an online payments business in India, and is also a managing director of his investment company. In 2001, Raj served as a joint secretary of ISP Association of India. He is a serial entrepreneur, having a remarkable experience of over 25 years in starting and managing multiple successful technology businesses in domain of software, system integration, IT services, internet, and cable TV. A very warm welcome to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, without any further delay, I request you, sir, to kindly enlighten us with your words of wisdom.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you all the participants for coming and taking your time for this session. I know it's just after lunch, so a lot of you may be sleepy. I know you're at home and have had a big lunch. So sometimes it becomes a little bit difficult to focus, but I'll try and make this interesting so that, one, you get value out of it, and two, you don't sleep. As I was introduced, we are a software company. We are a software product company, and I'll explain what that is in just a moment. What I'm going to talk to you about is a real life case study based on how we have responded and succeeded so far during these tough times of COVID-19. I hope everybody can hear me, and I hope everybody can see my screen. If there's a problem, can you quickly highlight it so we can correct it? Otherwise, I'll continue.
All well.
Perfect. Perfect. What I will do is give you a little bit background information so that you will understand the situation better. I'll structure the presentation over just a few slides, couple of slides to tell you what we do and how we used to do our business before COVID-19, and then what changes we had to make in our way of doing work during COVID-19. And despite making those changes, how we have succeeded and what have been our learnings. I think that's the summary of what I'm going to do. So I'm going to just put a couple of slides across to give you a background about what we do, because unless you understand what we do and how we used to do it before, you will not understand how we have coped with the problems of COVID. So essentially, we are a very, very specialized and niche company. We are a mid-sized company. We are a software product company. That's very different from a typical Indian IT services company. And I know all of you are familiar with the Infosys, Wipro, TCS, and all the other medium-sized, smaller IT services company. We are not a IT services company. We do not provide back office services to anybody. We create products like Microsoft has a product which you use daily in your lives on your computer, but the Microsoft product is aimed at consumers. Similarly, we have products, and the products are not aimed at consumers, but are aimed for large companies. We sell our products to large companies, and these companies use those products to offer services to people like you. So that's what we do roughly. We're a 20-year-old company. So we are not a startup. We are not a fly-by-night new player. We've been around for a long time. We're very well known in our industry. We are profitable, financially stable. We operate in the space of digital payments. So like I said, we are a technology provider. We make and we sell large software systems which enable digital payments. So what we sell is software, which is sometimes customized for our customers. And we implement the software. Implement basically means installation, commissioning, integration, and then ongoing technical support. You'll understand this just a little. Give me a couple of minutes. As I talk more, you'll understand exactly what we do. That's important for you to understand that to take this ahead. We operate in Asia and Africa. And Asia includes Far East Asia, which really means countries like Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, that part of the world. Southern Asia, which is of course the Indian subcontinent. Middle East, which is the entire Arabic world from Saudi Arabia, UAE, Oman, Qatar, Iran, Lebanon, those kind of countries, and the whole continent of Africa. India is a very small part of our business. Only 10% of our business comes from India. So we're not really an India focused player. We operate in multiple geographies in the two large continents, two of the largest continents of the world, which is Africa and Asia. These are, as you may know, emerging economies. So their needs are very different versus the needs of America and Europe. And we have specialized in this space. Globally, we are a top 5 player in our industry. So we are very well known in what we do in our industry. We are a large player in our industry. We compete with American companies, European companies, one more Indian company, and a few others. And amongst all the competitors globally, we are a top 5 player. Our customers are mobile operators. All of you are familiar with mobile operators in India. Airtel, Jio, Vodafone, and similarly, there are large operators all over the world. Every country has mobile operators. So our customers are mobile operators. Our customers are banks, and our customers are payment providers. What is a payment provider? In India, for example, Paytm is a payment provider, and there are many others who you may not know so much. Paytm does a lot of advertising, so obviously they're more popular. But essentially, those are the 3 types of customers who buy our large software systems, and they use these software systems to provide services to the mass market, which is all of you. We have about 120 employees. We are centralized in Gurgaon. We have about 100 odd people over there. We have a small team of 5 in Bombay and also in Uganda, which is in Africa. And at any point in time, about 5, 8, 10% of our people are always traveling, and all our travel is foreign travel because we work, like I said, more outside India than in India. So that's essentially the quick profile of who we are and what we do in terms of our product. So just to understand what we do as a product, this is important because our products are very critical in today's times, and that impacts how we work. A lot of you may have a prepaid mobile, and when you run out of money in your prepaid mobile, you need to do a recharge. You need to top up your balance. And your balance could be for your phone, could be for your DTH like Tata Sky, could be for internet. In many countries, even electricity is prepaid, water is prepaid. So essentially anything prepaid, which has to be recharged, or any bill that you have to pay. You've got to pay your phone bill, your electricity bill, your school bill, whatever bills you have to pay. So the software which is used by the mobile operator, by Tata Sky, by the electricity company, the system which is sitting inside Airtel or sitting inside Reliance Jio to enable recharges and bill payments, those are the kind of systems which we provide. So you may call it a system, you may call it a software platform, it doesn't really matter. These are different terminologies. We also provide financial services technology, and this is to banks and to payment companies. So the technology we provide enables you to make your deposit and withdrawal at banks or at ATM. It enables you to do your money transfers, merchant payments. You go to a merchant, you go to a shop and you buy a t-shirt and you want to pay with your card or you want to pay with your Paytm. There is technology sitting behind the card company or behind Paytm, which enables that transaction to happen. And that's the kind of technology which we make and sell. So essentially, that's what we do as a company. We serve about 40 customers in 30 countries. So it's a fairly large footprint that we operate in, and we have 500 million, that's 500 million users every month on our platform. So that's a huge amount of traffic which our customers serve using our technology. I'm sure you can understand based on this slide and based on what I said, that these are mission critical systems. Now imagine if you cannot recharge your phone, you're in lockdown, you're at home or you're in quarantine and you run out of balance and you can't recharge your phone. trouble, right? It's not a happy situation to be in. Or, you are at home, you need to buy supplies and you can't make an online payment, or you can't withdraw your money. That's a terrible situation to be in. So therefore, all of these technologies are mission critical systems at any time, and especially in today's tough times, these systems have to stay up. They cannot be a fault in them, and they cannot have downtime. Therefore, we as a company have a major responsibility to ensure that our customers, and of course their customers, because my customers have millions of customers of their own, that they keep operating in this tough environment. That's our challenge. And that's what the rest of this case study is about, how we are solving this challenge. How do we normally operate? And normally is without COVID-19, right? And over these 20 years, how have we operated? Our model is what I call heavy on face-to-face interaction. We need to meet customers face-to-face because we sell very, very deep technology, very, very high, deep technology requires detailed interaction face-to-face with customers. Therefore, we travel. We are always traveling. I personally travel every alternate week around the world, and so do a lot of my team members. And in today's times, when there's no travel, there's no face-to-face, it's a problem. So normally, when we are doing our sales and marketing, we are traveling. How do we generate our leads? How do we find a new customer? We find our customers at conferences, seminars, exhibitions, all of which are not possible today anymore. You dare not go there for risk of infection. And once we found a lead, then to convince him to buy our technology, we need to meet them multiple times in their office. We need to conduct workshops. We need to provide them consultancy. We need to give them demonstrations. So all of this requires a lot of face-to-face interaction. Once we've sold this technology, then to customize it and to implement it, again, we need face-to-face time with the customer. We need to have workshops with them for many, many days at a time to understand their detailed requirements, because every customer, every country, there are some changes required in the software. We need to be physically at a customer site for 1 to 2 months at a time to do the installation, commissioning, training, so that the customers can operate the system after we've left. However, there are things we've been doing remotely in the past, and these are, for example, software development. Software development always happens for us out of Gurgaon. We don't need to be at physical site. We don't need to be face to face. Technical support, in case something goes wrong, we do remote technical support. So again, that's done remotely. All the commercial work, all the contracting work is remote. But we do need to visit the customer once in a while to maintain the relationship. I'm sure you all understand that. These are large customers. These are very high value projects, high value to us, high value to customers. And it's important to visit them once a while to maintain the relationship. So essentially, this is how we work normally. Does anybody have any questions? Please free to ask. I mean, I don't want to only make this a lecture. It's always useful if you ask your questions. Any questions? Or should I continue?
Not so far.
You can continue, sir. No questions.
Okay, thank you. So I think what I've described so far is what we do and how we do in a normal situation. Now let's talk about exactly. So the question is, how are you operating in current scenario? And this is exactly my next slide. What we did during COVID. How are we handling this? Number one, we were prepared. So I think this is, I mean, all of you, I think, are management faculty or somehow involved in the management sphere. And it's interesting to note, preparation is the key to anything. Virat Kohli is a great batsman because he trains, he prepares. We were prepared. How were we prepared? Being a mission critical business, we have what is called a very well documented business continuity plan. Maybe in your management classes, you teach BCP, business continuity plans. So we have a business continuity plan, which was recently updated just this year, and we put it into practice. And the business continuity plan essentially takes into account how we will work in case a disaster strikes. Now, why did we have a business continuity plan? We had a business continuity plan because we operate in a mission critical business, as I explained a couple of slides ago. We cannot afford to go down. Our customers cannot afford to go down. So we just have to work 24/7. So therefore, we had a plan in place. Over the years, now, our model has been heavy on travel, and travel is not just a cost, it's also a lot of pressure. When you're traveling every month or every twice a month, it takes a toll on you, and you after a while want to reduce travel. So we have been slowly changing our model over the years to reduce the face-to-face time and to increase the remote working. Not been fully successful because customers resisted it, but at least we were trying, and we were mentally prepared to work remotely. Once COVID hit in March, when it really hit, we swung into action early. So number one, we were prepared, and number two, we put that plan into action early. We initiated our company lockdown and work from home much before the government asked us to do it. If you remember, the government, I think, ordered lockdown about 23rd or 24th of March, 25th of March. We had lockdown 10 days before because we saw this coming. We realized that we cannot afford that any of our employees get infected, because if any of our employees get affected, they will not be able to work, and if they're unable to work, we will suffer, and our customers will suffer, and our customers will suffer. So we took the safety of our employees and our customers seriously, and we shut down earlier. We already had a plan in place. A majority of our customers have laptops already and data connections. Some others didn't, especially people who were not in the technical department, people in finance, people in procurement, people in commercial. A lot of them did not have laptops. Some of our customer support people did not have laptops. We made sure that in 24 hours, we were able to organize to send their desktops to their houses, and we bought them a Wi-Fi connection at their house. And virtually, in I think 48 hours, we made sure that every one of our employees had a computer, a laptop, or a desktop, and a data connection to operate from home. I mentioned a little while back that we have some of our staff in Bombay and some of our staff in Uganda. So the staff in Bombay sits out of our largest Indian customer. Our largest Indian customer is Jio. You all know Reliance Jio. So our company is the provider of the entire prepaid recharge technology to Jio. So if ever any of you recharge your Jio phone or Jio device, it is our technology which processes the transaction. And that's obviously a massive system. Jio has 350 million customers, and therefore our technology does recharge for all these 350 million customers. And for that, we have 5 or 6 of our people permanently stationed inside Jio's office. So we had to negotiate and make Jio understand that they should allow these people to not come to office for everybody's sake and to operate from their homes. Exactly the same in Uganda, where we have our largest African customer. We were able to agree with them to allow our staff to work from home. So not just Gurgaon, our employees in other places also started working from home. We had people traveling at this time. We are always traveling, as I said. We immediately recalled our traveling people back to India as soon as we could. I was traveling, my CEO was traveling. We all quickly came back. 2 of our people got stuck in Thailand till the 22nd of March. Luckily, we were able to get them back before the airspace got shut, and we ensured their home quarantine for 3 weeks. And fortunately, nobody had infection, and everybody was fine. I saw some questions come in. Amit, do you want me to answer the questions now?
Yes, sir. There is one question which has just come up. It says that did COVID-19 create some opportunities in e-avenues? And if yes, then how long can it sustain?
Yes, they did create opportunities, and I have a couple of slides later. I will talk about the opportunities which it created. So I'm trying to do this step by step. First, trying to describe what we did, what we're currently doing, and then I'll come to what are the opportunities it created.
Sure, sir.
So, go ahead.
There is another question which has come up. Says that how your technology can help Indian government to handle the disaster management programs and processes.
We do not provide any technology for that. Our technology, we are a payments technology provider. We only provide technology for payments. So if the Indian government wants to buy payments technology, we're there to help them. Otherwise, I don't think we can do much for them. Like I said, our customers are mobile operators, banks, and payment companies. We do not work with governments; they're too difficult to work with, unfortunately. Continuing. Yeah, look, I speak plainly. What are we doing currently? We are being very conservative. We're conserving cash. We are avoiding any critical expenditure. We're avoiding all non-critical investments. We're trying to conserve cash so that we can last out this storm. We've stopped all recruitment unless it's a critical position. We are, I think, our most important asset, our single most important asset is our team. Look, we are a product company. So as a product company, we have no raw material which we buy. Our raw material is the human mind. And therefore, our people are our single most valued asset. So we're protecting them. That's, I think, our single biggest job. We are ensuring that our salaries are paid on time. We're ensuring that there are no layoffs, and we're trying to enhance the skill of people even while they're at home using internal trainers. I think that's quite important. What has been the impact of all of this? And I'm really, really happy to say that so far there is no disruption in our operations. There is no disruption in our customers' operations. I think that's been a remarkable achievement. We have been able to operate from home with the same level of productivity and efficiency so far. Whatever efficiency and productivity we would get out of working from our office, so far we've been able to manage the similar level of productivity and efficiency working from home. I think again remarkable. A very good thing is that we have a very high workload from our customers. I think this is keeping everybody busy and sane and positive. Because if you don't have work, then you will become negative. You will have an empty mind, and empty mind breeds negativity. Fortunately, we have enough work, so we don't have time to think negative. Going forward, we have no plans to open our office soon. Even if the lockdown is lifted on the 17th, I don't think we are interested to open the office. Why should we, if we are able to achieve the same level of productivity and efficiency from home? For the moment, we don't want to take any risks. We will wait and watch and see what happens and then open up later. We do plan to significantly cut down travel, even when travel opens up. There was another question I saw coming in, Amit.
Yes, sir. Let me see if another question has come up. Yes.
You want me to answer them now or finish and then do it in the end?
Either way, sir. I'm just trying to open the chat box.
Yeah, the question is, how is your company contributing to CSR at this time of pandemic?
I think like a lot of companies, we are contributing to various funds. For example, there is the PM Care Fund. There is, of course, the Prime Minister Relief Foundation. We have contributed to that. There are a couple of charitable organizations which we have adopted over the years. One of them looks after old abandoned people in Delhi. It's a very, very famous organization called the Earth Savior Foundation. They're located in Gurgaon. They look after abandoned old people. We are one of the people who adopted them for the last 4 or 5 years, and we've been contributing to them to make sure that there is always food and medicines available to them. So we are, doing whatever we can from our side. And I think the other thing we're doing is making sure there are no layoffs and all our salaries are on time. So I saw a question come in. How is your software different from the other payment gateways? So we are not a payment gateway. We are the technology which a payment gateway buys to give you the payment gateway service. So if you go online and do a payment, you would be doing that at whatever payment gateway. The payment gateway will have some software to process that transaction. We are the provider of that software. We are not providing payment gateway services to individuals. I think an easy way to understand is the following. You have a company which operates taxis. So they will buy a Toyota car or a Mahindra car and operate a taxi. And then there is a company which manufactures a taxi. A Toyota or a Mahindra manufactures the taxis. And then there's another company which provides the machinery, which Toyota buys that machinery and uses that machinery in their factory to produce the Toyota car. So we are the provider of that machinery in the software sense, which our customers would use to make the end service possible. So we are a very, very back-end player, not visible to consumers. Continuing this, so why are we succeeding? Why are we continuing to do well in the current scenario? I think the single biggest reason is we have an amazing team and fantastic management. All our CXOs, HODs are mature, highly committed employees. They were well prepared for remote working. That helped a lot to ensure that we succeed. I mean, this is not rocket science. This is the basics of management, right? If you have good people, they will work well. If you don't have good people, they will not do well. So I think that's a key criteria. Second, I think we had a good business strategy. I think Narendra Modi ji said it a couple of days ago, be self-reliant. We have been self-reliant for the past 10 or 15 years. We have no critical vendors. We have no subcontractors. We do everything ourselves. We don't need any external company to help us to either make our product or sell our product or install our product or to support our product. Therefore, we are completely self-reliant, which of course helps. So we have no dependency on anybody else. Our products are very sticky. So once, for example, once a customer buys our technology, it's not easy for them to change the technology. So they're stuck with us and we're stuck with them. So it's a high value business, a very high stake business. Customers have high stakes with us and we have high stakes with customers. And that keeps the commitment level to each other very, very strong. Being a major customer, being a major player, our customers need us and we need them. I think another part of a good business strategy is we have multiple products. So we're not dependent on any one single product. Similarly, we are very well diversified across countries. We operate in 30 countries. So even if there is risk in one country, it doesn't really bother us so much. It will start bothering us if all the countries and all the customers get into trouble, which hopefully won't happen. And that's a kind of a risk diversification strategy which we pursued. So I see a question coming to name some of our large customers. Our largest customer in India is Reliance Jio. So as I said a little while back, Reliance Jio uses us for 100% of their prepaid recharges. So anybody in India who's got a Jio prepaid account, when they recharge it, that uses our technology. We work with MTN. MTN is the largest operator in Africa. We work with large operators in the Middle East, with the Zain Group, with the Rascom Group. We work with large banks. You may not know the names because these names are African and Middle Eastern and Far East Asian names. Like I said, India is a very small market for us. We're not an India-focused company. We work with Jio. In the past, we worked with Airtel and BSNL, but not anymore. We work with the largest operator of Philippines, which is called Globe Telecom. We work with the second largest operator of Thailand, which is called DTAC. Similarly, we work with all the operators in Lebanon, large operators in Bahrain, in Saudi Arabia, across Africa, in about 15 countries in Africa. I think that gives you a flavor of our customers. Continuing with this, obviously we were lucky. To succeed, you need everything and you also need a bit of luck. And I think we were lucky. We operate in an industry which is critical in today's times. I mean, if we were operating in the restaurant business or the hotel business, whatever we did won't have worked, right? Because it's just bad luck if you're operating in an industry which is not working in today's times. We're just lucky that we operate in telecom and internet and banking, which is operational today, and therefore we are operational. We operate in Asia and Africa, and Asia and Africa have had a much lower impact from COVID than Europe and America. And I think that's been lucky for us. If we were operating in Europe or America, I think the impact on us would have been much worse. But because Asia and Africa have had so far escaped too much trouble from coronavirus, hopefully they will survive and so will we. And I think another big bit of luck, we won two very large deals in the month of March, just before the storm hit. And these two large deals will carry us through for the rest of the year, hopefully. So, like I said, luck has helped. I saw another question come in. One sec. The question was, why don't we do much business in India? We don't do business in India because India is a very difficult country to work in, to be very frank with you. Remember, we are a mid-sized company dealing with large customers. In India, large customers unfortunately end up bullying the small, medium-sized companies. We don't like to be bullied. We like to work as equals, and it's much easier to work in the export market than to work in India. India, there are payment problems. People don't pay on time. People don't pay proper prices. They negotiate like crazy for discounts, and then they don't pay. That's not the way to do business. Unfortunately, we don't do much business in India. That's why we prefer to work with large customers. Of course, I must say Reliance Jio is the largest operator in India, and we work with them, and they've been fabulous. I mean, all the negatives that I said about India do not apply to Jio. They are a great company, and we've had a fabulous relationship. Going forward, what are the threats we see and the opportunities? And these are my last two slides. In terms of the threats, we are seeing a currency risk. As you've seen in India, the rupee has dropped from about 70 rupees to a dollar to about 76 rupees to a dollar now. There's been about a 10% roughly depreciation in the rupee in the last 3 months. This has happened across the globe for most of the currencies of the emerging economies. Across Asia, across Africa, currencies have devalued against the dollar, which basically means the cost of import in these countries have gone up. And since we are exporting, our customers are importing. Therefore, the costs have gone up. And when the costs have gone up, they are now asking us for price reduction, or they're asking us to share the burden of the increased cost. And that's a risk we are facing. I don't know what we'll do about it. We'll see. But essentially, that's identified as a risk area for us right now. We're seeing some delays. Even though we are able to work with full productivity from home, many of our customers who are large players, large banks and large mobile operators, they are unable to work with full productivity from their home because they have many more layers of decision making, and with multiple layers of decision making, it becomes, there are delays sometimes working remotely, and this is leading to project delays, and with project delays come payment delays. So this is another risk that we are seeing. Sorry, there was a question I saw related to currency. If currency is an issue in India, why do you not hedge yourself against the risk? A problem is not India. Remember, we are an exporter, so we are getting dollars. Earlier, for every dollar we were earning, we were getting 70 rupees. Now, for every dollar we are earning, we are getting 76 rupees. So we love it. We're happy. We're getting more rupees for every dollar. The problem is not for us. The problem is in the other country where I'm exporting. So, for example, if I export to Nigeria, in Nigeria, their currency has devalued against the dollar. So their cost of import has gone up. As long as they pay me, I get more rupees for every dollar, but they have to pay more Nigerian currency to buy every dollar. So the problem is theirs, not mine. But because the problem is theirs, they're pressurizing me to share that cost, which is a negotiation we will do and see what happens. I hope that answers and clarifies. The other threat that we see is, God forbid, if I just hope that none of our customers collapse or shut down, because if any of our customers collapse or shut down, that will be a bad debt to us, and then that creates a problem. So far, this has not happened. So far, we don't foresee this is happening, but it's obviously a threat. The longer this situation continues, this risk, the chances of it increase a little bit. I think the other real threat we are seeing is that everyone is fearing that a recession will come, and recession is already there. There are recessionary trends, and if a full-blown recession comes, obviously customers will delay new investments. If the customers delay new investments, this will reduce our future revenues. Our current revenues will probably be okay, but in the next quarter or the next year, we may end up with lesser revenues because of postponement of investments. I think in terms of people issues, the longer the lockdown continues and the longer this work from home continues, I just hope that negativity and demotivation does not creep into the employees. Because, at the end of the day, human is a social animal. We like to interact with people. We like to go out. And the longer you stay locked in your house, there's a risk of negativity creeping in. And then, of course, productivity and efficiency will suffer. I think once everything opens up, there will be pressure once again from customers to travel. I see that as a threat because I don't know whether we will want to travel, even if travel opens up, because I don't know how long this threat of infection will remain. And as we've seen, travel has intensified the spread of coronavirus. So let's see, but this is a possible threat as we go along. Is there any other question or should I just continue?
You will continue, sir. There is no question.
In terms of opportunities, there was a question, do we see any opportunities out of this? Yes, so is there any silver lining? Yes, there is silver lining and we are seeing opportunities. And this is my last slide, so, it's not a very long presentation. I think the single biggest silver lining is everybody, and this includes us and our customers both. Both sides have understood that work from home works. You don't have to go to office. You don't have to travel. You can work from home if you're sincere. And I think this is the single biggest learning. Everyone's been talking about working from home for years, but nobody took it seriously. This experience has proven, amply proven, that if you are sincere, you can work from anywhere, mostly. Working from home does reduce stress, does reduce because commuting goes down. You're spending longer time at home with your family. Hopefully, it's reduced stress. I think more efficient, lower cost work models will emerge out of this experience. Everyone need not come to office every day anymore, even when this opens up. Therefore, hopefully, you may not need as much office space as you currently do. And therefore, you will also avoid commuting and petrol cost compared to the older way of working. So there could be more efficiencies for longer term coming out of this. Clearly, there will be reduced travel and other overhead costs going forward. I mean, even though there will be travel once this opens up, I'm sure the amount of travel will reduce globally because people have seen you don't need to travel all the time. I think opportunities will open up, especially especially in our domain. Like I said, we are a player in the digital payment space. And as remote working or social distancing continues, anything digital will get a huge boost. And so I think in the mid to long term, the conversion from physical payments to digital payments will gather even more speed. And that, of course, brings more opportunities for players like us. Remember that our major competitors are European and American companies. And I am guessing they are probably much more impacted than we are. And therefore, they may be weakened out of this scenario. I don't know. I'm just guessing. Because of the situation in Europe and America, if our competitors from there have become a bit weak, then of course that gives an opportunity for players like us to grab more market share. We also have one major competitor from China. I don't know, maybe there is backlash that some companies will have towards Chinese competitors. Maybe they don't want to avoid, they don't want to buy Chinese products anymore. They want to reduce their reliance on China. Again, in such a scenario, that would benefit an Indian company. I think being a smaller company, mid-sized company, nimble and much more responsive, I think we will end up gaining market share in the short to mid-term if all goes well and if we survive this. I think bottom line, stay home, work from home, stay safe. I'm seeing questions come in. Let me just see questions. Okay, there's a question. You don't want to penetrate big markets like India and China. Very simple answer. China, massive language problem. Very difficult in our business to work in China. All our products are in India, are in English language. Cannot work in China without Chinese. We have enough work around the world to bother to learn Chinese and change up products into Chinese. I have enough opportunities in the rest of the world to worry about China. Why don't I want to work in India? I think I answered that already. It's too difficult. People don't pay on time. People pay a lousy price. Export market pays a much better price, and they pay on time. Next question I have is work from home may have challenge for work-life balance. Well, depends. If you're fighting with your wife all the time or your husband all the time, you're going to have work from home challenge. But if you are happy at home, I think you will have better work-life balance working from home. Next question I see is, can you give an idea of the minimum and maximum number of hours an employee spends working from home? Yeah, it's a good question. In the normal scenario, I'm talking about our experience. In a normal scenario, when there was no COVID-19, if somebody did a work from home, he would maybe work 4, 5, 6, 7 hours at max. Today, with COVID-19, somebody from home is working at least 10 hours because he's got nothing else to do. He can't go out, he can't do anything else, he's bored, so might as well work. And there's enough work for us. We have enough work on our plate. So we're actually seeing that the number of hours that people are putting in has gone up and has gone up significantly because there is no distraction. The next question I'm seeing come in, can you name your European, US, and Chinese competitors? Yes, a major Chinese competitor is Huawei. You know, the famous Chinese telecom company, Huawei. Big European American competitors are Amdocs, Telepin, and a company called eServe Global. Next question I see is, as a business, can we really plan in advance for a health exigency like COVID? Look, my experience, and I said this before, you can't plan for a specific problem, but you can plan for a problem. We don't know whether there will be COVID, whether there will be earthquake, whether there will be fire, whether there will be flood. All of these are problems. We can't plan for COVID. We can't plan for smallpox. I don't know, but we can plan for a disaster. We can plan for a problem, and that's what we did. And that's what I explained a little while ago. We had a documented business continuity plan, and that documented business continuity plan, everybody in the company knew about it. Everybody in the company was trained what to do if a disaster happens. And COVID was a disaster. The disaster happened, and everybody in our company knew what to do, and we just went about, activated our business continuity plan, and did it. So, like I said, you can't plan for COVID, but you can plan for disasters. You should have a documented plan for disasters. Make sure that all the key people in your company are familiar with the plan. They know what is to be done with that plan, and when such a disaster strikes, you quickly activate that plan and implement it. And that's what we did. And we did that well in advance of our PM declaring a lockdown. We have more questions. Any plans to diversify and seek new opportunities? Yes, of course. We always are looking for new opportunities. For us, new opportunities are always looking at new countries to enter into and new related products to enter into. And it's a never-ending process. It's something we do all the time. Next question is, what are the major threats? I already talked about this, and I'll just put up that slide again. If you can see the slide, these are the threats we're seeing. Currency risk, delays, customers collapsing, people postponing investment due to recession, demotivation due to working from home. Those are the threats we see. What mantra of success will you give to young students or management? I'll just put up those slides again. Simple. Be prepared. Be prepared for situations. Model them out before. Model out problems and be prepared. And when the problem happens, take action early. Be conservative. If you risky companies, risky businesses will have more trouble in these times. Conservative businesses will have less trouble in these times. It generally pays to be conservative. I've seen that often. Protect your most valued asset. For us, the most valued asset were our people. We protect them. So there's a next question. Are your 120 employees all Indian or cosmopolitan? I would say the majority Indians. We have some African employees, but that's just maybe 1 or 2%. Otherwise, all Indians. We're very happy with Indian employees. They're smart, they're intelligent, they're sincere, they work hard. I love them. There's another question here. Do you think telecom industry benefited with people consuming more data, and have you benefited in turn? Yes, of course. If you consume more, whether it is voice calling or data, if you're using your telecom services more, your telecom operator is obviously benefiting. And if your telecom operator is benefiting, the entire industry, the entire value chain behind him, such as us, are also benefiting. Yes. Next question I'm reading is, what are the major threats you may face post COVID-19? I've already talked about that. I'm not going to repeat that. I'll just put that slide up here. If you want to read it, those are the threats. There's a question, long question. Let me read it out. I have found that work from home has removed the boundaries of office hours and home hours. Though it was not so that people are not taking work home, but now people are home and all hours are office hours. Uh, how have you set up boundaries on mailing or official communication, and what can or need not be taken up? I think the way we are doing is, for us, we're not doing this at a formal level. We've left it to our employees. We are a fairly flexible organization. I think most software companies offer a lot of flexibility to their employees, and so do we. So we've left the flexibility of working hours to our people. Even when people were working from office, we were working flexi time. So we were not a 9 to 5 company. We were a flexi hours company. People had to put in, there was a defined X number of hours every week. They've got to put in those many hours at a minimum, and they can choose to come to office whenever they want and leave from office whenever they want. And we are following the same philosophy when they're working from home. They decide when they want to work. As long as the work does not suffer, it doesn't really matter. We don't really care. Looking for more questions, scrolling down. What are the domains that will grow after COVID-19? I don't know which are the domains which will grow post COVID-19. I can only say that as far as our, the technology space is concerned, I think in general, anything which is digital, we are in the payment space, but there's so many other spaces other than payments which are digital. Anything which is digital, contactless, where you don't need to physically spend too much time with other people in front of them, they will clearly grow. Not to say that the other things will not grow, I'm sure they will. And I also think that COVID-19 problem is not permanent. COVID-19 may be permanent, but its problem will not be permanent. A time will come when vaccine will emerge or immunity will happen, and then life will be as usual. So this is I'm thinking this is a a medium-term problem. Medium-term defined as 1 to 2 years. It's a problem for 1 to 2 years. Yes, and in these 1 to 2 years, a lot of industries will be negatively impacted, and that's unfortunate. And a lot of industries will be positively impacted, such as digital industries. But once the COVID-19 problem goes away, COVID may not go away, but its problem will go away, then slowly things will return to normal. You will start going out to eat again. You will start going out to see your movies again. You will start traveling again. So long term, it should be business as usual, hopefully. Let me see. Reading. Somebody has commented, amazing session. Thank you very much. There is a question called VUCA word is here to say, what do you feel? I don't understand the question. This is Mr. Karunakar Jha. Can you please clarify what do you mean by VUCA word? Then I can answer your question after that. So I'll continue with the others. There was a question saying, what are the reasons for your business being sticky? Okay, let me give an example. Very good question. Let me give an example. Let's say you are Maruti Suzuki, you manufacture cars. In the Maruti Suzuki factory, there are machines, massive machines, which help Maruti Suzuki to manufacture the cars. Think of my company as a supplier and manufacturer of those machines. How easy do you think it is for Maruti Suzuki to replace the machine in his factory? It's not easy. Yes, of course he can do it, but it's not easy. It will take a long time and it will have a lot of disruption. Therefore, the manufacturer of that machine will call Maruti Suzuki as a sticky customer. It's the same for me. My customers are sticky because it is difficult for them to change their system. But that also brings great responsibility to me. I have to make sure that my products are fabulous. They are operating without any trouble, without any downtime, all the time, so that my customers don't have a problem, so that their customers don't have a problem. I think that hopefully helps you understand why this is a sticky customer business. There is another question. Is your company's experience equally applicable to service sector industries? It depends which service sector. For example, restaurants are service sectors, but obviously this experience is not applicable to them. Hotels are service sector, banks are service sector, may or may not be applicable. I think my company's experience is applicable to digital companies. Anyone in digital space will probably have reasonably similar experiences. The service sector is very wide. Even airlines are service sector, but they're very badly impacted. So can't generalize. There's a next question here which says, any plans to upgrade or innovate technologies? Of course, it's a constant process. It's a never-ending process. You do this all the time. It is not something you stop and then you do after 6 months. No, this is a constant process. And customers push you to do this. If you don't do this, customers won't buy from you anymore. The next question says, you have nothing to do with DTH or OTT recharges? Yes, we do. But like I said, we are the player behind Tata Sky, for example, or behind Reliance Jio, for example. You will never see us. You will see only your provider of service. We will be the technology provider behind it. There is another question. How will this work from home engagement affect families, since as an employee, you're working 18 hours now? Well, I think this is a decision for each employee to make. It's not my decision. If employees are working 18 hours and being workaholic, it's their problem. They need to manage their time better. I can't manage other people's time. I think people are mature. If you're working from home, if you're a senior person, you're a mature person. You should manage your own work-life balance. Of course, we would encourage our people to not work 18 hours. They'll burn themselves out. It makes no sense. Once in a while, if there's an emergency, yes, but not regularly. Regularly working 18 hours is neither possible nor recommended. Okay, there is somebody clarified what VUCA means, Dr. Shilpa Sankalp. VUCA is an acronym